Alright guys, got another knife here for you, and you can see that this one is one of the more available knives out there. I'm sure a number of you most likely own this knife or a variation of it. This obviously is the Zero Tolerance 0561, which is based on the Hinderer XM series knives. And with most of these production knives I've been showing, they always go a little different as far as the exact specs. They don't ever seem to match them up exactly. In this case, they went a little larger. You have the Hinderer XM-18 3.5, which this would be the most comparable to that, although this has a 3.75-inch blade. So you have a little bit longer length on the blade and a little bit longer length on the handle due to that. I thought I'd start it off differently too by having the knife all the way open instead of having you guys wait a while for me to flip it open and seeing it all closed, but we'll close this up and give you a look at it this way. Picked up this knife last week when I was getting in all the other production ones, and it was kind of interesting because I feel I got a pretty good deal as far as the price on this knife. Retail wise it runs around $260. I got it for a substantial amount less than that new out of the box. And I kind of got it just to have, because along with all the other pieces I've been showing you, I wanted the look of a Hinderer, or I wanted the production version of a designer, mainly because I don't think I was ever going to get the actual real ones for a number of reasons. Two of them, one being the actual price on the secondary market for them, and one being that did I really like that knife enough that I wanted to shell out that money for it, just to say I have it in my collection. And I might be upsetting the Hinderer fan, just like I upset the Strider fans with some of my comments on the DOC. I know it's not that this is not a custom knife, that this is not the same level as the XM-18, and that the DOC is not the same level as a real Strider, but it is made by, the DOC was made by Microtech, which is Anthony Marfione's company, so it's kind of in that realm. Obviously has that stuff to it, and Zero Tolerance has a good brand name and decent so far as all their production. I'm not going to get into the full specs on this. I'm not going to read them off. I'll put them in the description below, because mainly this is how I was so surprised by this knife, and really why I understand people wanting the Hinderers so much, the real ones. This knife just, it calls to you when it's on the table. I got this in with three other knives at the same time. So let me raise this up a little bit because I don't think I'm getting everything in the frame. So I got this, the R.J. Martin Zero Tolerance 0600 and the DOC Microtech all on the same day. And I opened this one first thinking I'm probably gonna, it's gonna be a fine knife. It looked, something about the Hinderers and the 0561s just look like kind of a basic folding knife, like the standard style. But what I really understood now that I have this in my hand is it's the classic, perfect tactical knife, really, when you feel it. We'll give you some macro shots on this. This obviously has the Stonewash finish, and most of you have seen or have this knife, but the 0561 means that it has the dark earth G10 on it, whereas the 0560 has the black G10, and then the special edition CF version is the carbon fiber one with the composite blade. This blade has the Elmax material, which I know some people had seen or heard that Zero Tolerance had some issues with their Elmax, either burning the edges. I'm not sure how well it's going to hold up with this one, because I think this was one of the ones when they first were doing the Elmax blade, when they switched over to it. From what I understand on the 0600s and the 0801, which are Elmax 2, they've had a lot more time to kind of work those kinks out. But we'll do some cut tests with this later on when I do a full production knife video as far as all the ones I got in and how I feel about it. But getting back to what I was talking about, so I got those three knives in, and I really thought I'll probably play with the R.J. Martin 0600 or the DOC a lot more. But what ended up happening is every time I had all three knives laid out, I kept going for this one. And it's not that it's the smoothest, not smooth, but not the quickest flipper. I mean, when you flip this thing out, yeah, and that looked pretty good. But you have to be pretty aware when you do it. This is a push button on it. It's smooth. It's very smooth. It's steady though. It's kind of very even keeled as it comes out, and I like that. It feels very comfortable. It feels very slick. You know, it rolls out. And the thing is, the second it pops out, there's some flippers where when you flip them, you kind of want to stay in that position, like, oh, okay, I flipped it, it's fine. But the second you roll this thing out, you want to go right into the full hand grip on it. You whip this out, you're like, yes, ready to go to war, ready to chop something up, ready to cut something. It's just your hand feels that it needs to go right into that grip, either this way or this way. The knife makes you want to do that. And there's a number of things I like about this. The texturing on this G10, whatever this pattern is, I really like how it feels. I like the thickness of the knife. It's not super thick, it's not super thin. The roundedness here, the curvature fits in the hand nicely. I like the 3D machining here. I know some other ones they used to have, I think the 550s had a Stonewash or a flat finish, and then also the 561 or 560 CF special version of this has these kind of like light lines in it. But this feels really good too. Both sides feel really good. It has a nice weight to it. A little bit on the lighter side for this size knife, but that's mainly because of the G10, and then also the stock of the blade isn't super thick. Things that I have a little bit of issue with on this one. The flipper is good. I like the smoothness and everything, but it's not super fast coming out, and that doesn't bother me a whole heck of a lot. It's just that I don't want people to think that this is like some crazy super fast, flipper. If you look at it comparatively, even if I took here your Browse Blades Reloader in the Cerakote, which actually slow it up because of the coating usually makes the flipper slower, you can see how that thing whips out. That is quick. And if I brought the Division out too, you probably see even how much quicker it is. And this is with the coating on it, You hear that snap right into place. And then you watch this one, and you can see the difference, I like the snap that it makes, the little click. It's almost like scissors closing. If you have a nice pair of scissors and right when you close them fully, that's the kind of sound that makes whoosh. Just a nice solid feel. Lockup on this, 50%. You still have part of the frame sticking out, so I always give it a little less when I see that sticking out there. You can see on the other side. See-through design, same thing as the Hinderer as far as how this is done. But something about this knife calls to you, and I guess I just get it now that I didn't understand before with the Hinderer look and feel, and I'm sure a real Hinderer probably even feels better than this licensed collab version between ZT and Rick. But it just is a well done knife. I mean, I just need to test out, I guess, the cutting ability of this Elmax. But overall, it's weird. Like, I put this down, I have a bunch of other productions around it, and I just keep reaching for this one. And it's not because it's the fastest flipper. It's not because it really stands out the most as far as a look compared to some of the other ones I picked up. But I know how it feels. I know how smooth that is. And you can see, even this way, totally smooth. Just drops right in. The other thing you want to do too is, I don't know, for some reason whenever I have this in my hand, I want to do a wrist flick with it. I mean, you don't have to. If you hit it right, it's fine, but I just have this as well. Whoop, throw this thing out, You can drop it down this way. I don't know if we can get it in the screen. If you give enough whip on it, you can just get it to open that way. With this, there is no steel lock bar insert, so it is just a titanium on the steel, whereas the other ZTs that I got had the steel lock bar insert. Just something to be aware of. Pivot, I think, looks fine. I'm not the biggest fan of blacked out hardware. I think on the front scale it looks fine with the black on the brown. I know they probably can't really change it, but on this silver, I do kind of wish this all matched up. Either had like a brushed or bead blasted, or I don't know, bead blasted, but just kind of silvery finish compared to this. Clip doesn't bug me. Clip works very well. I like that it matches the blade. I don't know if we got a macro shot on this side. And like I said, most of you guys probably have this knife or have played with one, but just some macro shots there on the milling. The ZT there and the ZT there. Only two. Jeez. It takes a little while to focus when it goes away. Grind looks decent on here. Sharp point, feels sharp out of the box. Only thing really with this, and I'll show you the centering. Centering's really good on it too. Dead center. And you can see that it's slow coming out, but it's smooth. It's very smooth. It's not like it's held up. It just doesn't have that explosion that some of the other ones have, or feel ridiculously fast flying out. But just very smooth, even keeled. And like I said, when you put it in your hand, you just want to keep it there, and you want to reach for this one over the other ones. So I get that about it. But the one other thing with this is you can see here, focus, the G10, how much higher it is than the frame there. And when you go to the other side, oh, sorry about bumping the camera, it makes it kind of hard to get in and get the bar right here. Even though they put this little grooves on it, if you actually look, it's still lower than the G10. So this side is lower. So you have to really dig in and put a lot of effort in to get that across. And after a while, it will wear on your thumb. Not this. This isn't all from this knife. I mean, my thumbs have been doing a lot of stuff with knives lately. But look, it's not like the other ones. And I'll give you an example. This is a liner lock. Here we go. But you can see how the liner is higher than the G10. So it's very easy for me to get in here. I mean, look how easy that is for me to get in to close this knife. Even if I want to put, my nail of my thumb, I can easily get in there. And yes, that's different. It's a liner lock versus a frame lock. But that's the one thing, using this hand, easy to get in, easy to push out. But sometimes if you're not really thinking about it, if you're going through a lot of different knives, you get to this one and you're like, oh, you can even see how much effort I've put on there to push it out. Just something to be aware of on that. Give you a size comparison against the reloader. Against the triple threat. And then here, the one I just did a video on, the Boker Federal. Just to give you an idea as far as size goes. And we'll even move these around a little bit. There you go. But even when you're talking about this, I mean, this is the same thing. There's no steel lock bar insert on here. It's a frame lock. It's not G10 or any kind of liner on here. It's just a frame on frame. But it's still easy for me to get my thumb in, to push this out and drop this in. And you can see when you flip this, it's an accelerated, more explosive opening. And this is pretty smooth. I mean, look at that, it just drops right in. But still, there's this draw. Even though I know this isn't as fast as some of the other ones, even though I know some of the production ones I got were more expensive than this, even some of my mid-techs, I still want to reach for this one. And it's just some kind of draw. Rick Hinderer hit it out of the park when he made this design. I can understand why the XMs are so popular. If I could get an XM for what the dealer price is, I mean the maker price, yeah, no problem. I mean, even when you're talking about, even without the LEO discount or the oh, sorry about that, guys, the LEO discount or the military discount, with those it's $385 for a Hinderer XM-18, maybe 3-inch or something like that. But you know, then if you're not any of those, and if you were ever able to get them direct from Hinderer, which I don't know how you do, you're looking at, you know, 450, 475, I believe, and even at that, no problem, pick it up. But then you go to aftermarket prices, and you look at 600, 700, $800 for your standard ones, and then obviously with the higher specialized ones, a lot more. That's when it's like you can get this for around 200 bucks, and I'd have to pay $600, $700, $800 for the, you know, the real version. I'm happy to have this fill a spot for now, and then if I ever can get a direct one, I'll go for that. But I definitely understand what the draw of this is now, which I didn't before. So that's my thoughts on it. Hope you guys enjoyed that little quick review. Keep this right at 16 minutes. And if you have any questions, let me know. And like I said, down the line, I'm going to get into a full production overview and do some cut tests with all the production knives I got in this last few weeks. So thanks a lot. Bye-bye.